Hey, I'm Amanda. I'm an RN psychotherapist, and I have a heart-centered or heart-first approach to life and healing. And I want to talk to you about how to be okay alone. So, a lot of people enter into toxic relationships, stay in toxic, unhealthy relationships. Because they don't want to be alone. They're afraid to be alone. They struggle with self love when they're on their own. So one of the ways that we can be okay being on our own, and this actually is very effective too with your inner relationship or in a marriage, and you're not feeling self-love because you're perceiving that your partner's not able to give you love. Maybe they got something going on. So you can also use this regardless of whether in a relationship or not. Probably the only time it's not gonna really be needed is when you're in the throes of early love. But when you are on your own, or you're in a marriage that's not able to always meet all of your emotional and mental and physical needs, I just can't hit the camera. These techniques can be really helpful. And the first one is touch. So some people have a love language of touch. If your love language is touch, it can be very difficult for you to be alone. And this can also pull you back into relationships that maybe, or you stay longer than you should in unhealthy relationships. So one of the things that you can do is non-sexual physical touch. So and I'm not saying you can't do other kinds of touch, but this form of touch actually increases oxytocin, so that sense of self-love. And what it looks like is just caressing yourself. So caressing your arms, your legs, your face, your chest, just gentle, slow, caressing, loving touch. Holding your own hand, doing these things like in the morning and at night, just to give a little bit of boost of oxytocin, and that sense of, love. If you can speak love to yourself. So this is the next one would be to say loving things to yourself. So tell yourself that you're loved, you're enough. When you make a mistake, be gentle with yourself. Speak to yourself the way you would your best friend or a child that you're trying to encourage when you're most in your most centered place. So self-love, self-talk. One of my favorite techniques is to use mirrors to do this work. So you can bring yourself up to a mirror, get yourself like, how do you say where's my hand? Here, like this far apart. Get like this far apart, and make eye contact. Look right into your eyes, and then speak the words that you need to hear. Like, you're enough. You are loved. It's gonna be okay. Sometimes you just need to hear, it's gonna be okay. This is hard, but you're good at hard things. So connecting in the eyes, especially if you're ever experiencing emotion and you connect in your eyes in the mirror, you can cultivate your brain to stimulate compassion for yourself. And this can be the seed, especially if you're really struggling with self-love. Compassion is kind of the first step. When it comes to the mirror work, there's one other piece that I'd throw out there is sometimes people get hung up on what their body looks like. Maybe they're in a lot of self-judgment about their body. And you might not be ready for, mirror work if you're having a lot of self-attack. However, when you do feel ready, try to approach it from a place of compassion, and be able to say, okay, yes, I created this, but maybe if your body's not healthy, or it's not the body that you feel like you'd be the most comfortable in, that would be most optimal for you to like live your life to the fullest. Seeing that is not as that doesn't give it doesn't change your worth any. So you're not identifying as your body as what gives you your worth, but instead it's a learning device. It's a communication and learning device. And you have the ability to increase your self-love. By increasing your self-love, it'll increase your self-care, which will cause your body to be healthier, maybe fitter, and more capable in the world. Okay, so I guess what the point I was getting to is, if you find yourself judging, try to take a deep breath and try to cultivate compassion. Okay, so if you have an eating disorder, whether you're overeating or undereating, sometimes people can get hung up on that, on what their body looks like, and then really feel like they're not enough because of the way their body looks. Try to understand that whether you're underweight or overweight, or your body doesn't have any muscle tone or too much, I don't know, however you're judging it, that ultimately, if you haven't cared for your body, that is probably evidence that you're hurting and you didn't know what to do. So think about, when we emotionally overeat because we're feeling, or we're depressed and then we don't exercise. Like, those are the reasons why your body is like that. So you only deserve compassion and then gentle correction. By having that compassionate view where you're looking at yourself with love and compassion, that will help increase the self-love, which will lead to more acts of self-love, which is going to lead to a healthier body. Now, acceptance of things outside of your control is also important. So when we do this work, we want to take correction, compassion and correction for the things within our control, and then acceptance of things outside of your control. If you always wanted to be blonde and you know that if you dye your hair blonde it falls out because you can't handle it, this is one of my issues. So you have to embrace your hair as it is. Maybe your hair's black and you have to embrace it. And instead of, so learning how to not resist what is, but to accept yourself exactly as you are, that will also bring peace. So that, I guess that's a little extension on the mirror work, but the mirror work can be incredibly effective to start cultivating the self-love. And so that's words of affirmation. So we did physical touch, words of affirmation, acts of service, doing things that are loving for yourself around your home, making sure you're taking care of your home, even little things like making your bed, and organizing your room, things that will bring you peace, that if someone was to do that for you, you'd feel incredibly grateful. So just start doing things and saying, I'm doing this as an act of love to myself. That energy behind it will make you feel more self-love. So when you're doing your housework, when you're Windexing your mirror, saying, I'm doing this as an act of love to myself, this will also increase self-love. Gifts are wonderful. You can buy yourself flowers, right? So don't hesitate to buy yourself gifts. Within your budget, of course. We're not causing ourselves harm by going overspending. But little things, or even if you're to go pick some flowers for yourself and put them in your home, buy your, I don't know, take yourself golfing would be quality time, actually. Buy yourself a new golf club. I just don't want to leave out the guys, or something that is going to bring you joy. Okay. And then so quality time would be taking yourself golfing, going to the movies, taking yourself out for dinner, and telling yourself, I'm doing this as an act of love. Being okay with being alone and knowing that you're funny. You're enjoyable to be around. You've got a great mind. You can entertain yourself. And embracing your relationship with yourself fully, opposed to resisting it and feeling, well, I don't have anyone to go with me to the beach, so I can't go. Absolutely, you can go to the beach and enjoy it and be present. And this is a really great time to do your inner work as well, where you're looking at your capacity for your self-love, which ultimately will translate into more healthy behaviors in a relationship when you deeply love yourself. Did I get them all? So acts of physical touch, words of affirmation. What else do we have? We have gifts, acts of service, quality time. I feel like I'm missing one. Let me just pause here.